Elizabeth Butler. I run track and cross country.
Mhm. And
Okay.
what specific events in track and field do you compete in?
Yeah, I normally run the 32 and the 1600, and then I do the 4 by 8 a lot as well.
Nice. And so do you have do you have any accolades you would like to share? Any accomplishments and what grade you're in and what high school you go to?
I'm in 12th grade. I go to HSC High School. I was 15th in cross country state as a junior, fourth in the 32 as a junior as well, and third in the 4 by 8 as a junior at state. I have two school records, which is really fun. I have the 32 school record and I have the 5K school record. And my team also went to New Balance Nationals in track, which was really fun. And I think we placed fourth in the DMR, which was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah, you have a lot. I figured there was a lot for you to share.
Yeah.
And she just kind of said, "Oh, I run."
Yeah,
We
I
know there's
believe
more
this.
there. We wouldn't have went after you if it was just I run. Uh, so I recently saw you signed with Purdue.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you.
Coach Ina, she also ran at Purdue.
Yeah, I'm a Purdue grad track and field athlete, so that's awesome. Congratulations. I know that takes a little bit of weight off your shoulders, right? Like, where you're going. So that's exciting. So Elizabeth, how did your love for the sport or where did it come about? Like what made you pick cross country and track and field?
Yeah, I started running in seventh grade. I played softball like my whole life, so it was just kind of something I was doing on the side and just to like stay in shape for softball. And I think I didn't really fall in love with the sport until eighth grade, and I started to like actually get kind of good at it. And then I realized, oh, hey, I actually really like this. And yeah, I feel like that year, my eighth grade year, I didn't really train very hard. I just was like running fast and I was happy. But then I kind of realized you have to work hard to go fast. And so after that, I really fell in love with the sport.
What about it made you fall in love? Was it the winning?
Mhm.
Was it the running? Was it the you're a distance runner, so was it the runner's high? What was it?
Yeah, I would say it was really just like the team environment was awesome and also just like getting to like push myself every day and seeing the results like in races and stuff because a lot of sports I think your results kind of you can't really see exactly what you put in but in track and cross country like you train hard you run fast like it's pretty comparable.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That was true. I was an IU guy, by the way. I still am. I'm an IU alum. Our football team is doing great right now. I heard
They
both.
are doing great. Yay. Yeah.
Purdue. Oh, okay. I let that slide for a little while. I couldn't though. But anyway, back to you. What we're talking about here. What's been like your biggest? Who's your biggest inspiration in the sport?
It's really hard to say. I like watching like Caitlin Tui and Parker Valaby run. They're definitely two that I look up to a lot. I watch like Ali Ostrander on YouTube, and it's nice to like see like the work that she puts in to get there. So yeah.
What's been your most memorable competition? Like one where you're just like, I would never forget this moment.
Probably there's a lot, honestly, but the 32 I ran like my first race of my sophomore year. I think I ran, well, I guess it wasn't my first, but it was my first like in season, like indoor race. I ran, I think 10:47, which before that I hadn't even broken 11. So that was a really like big jump for me. So I think that was really memorable because I also got like, I think it was the meet record that meet. And so that was my first time like getting a record and doing like anything like that. So I think that was a really memorable race, but also in cross country, I just ran in this all-star race, which was so much fun. And getting to like be with a bunch of girls on Team Indiana who like I raced against, but I didn't really know them. I think that was a lot of fun as well.
Now with the All-Star race, who do you all race against? You said Team
Uh,
Indiana, so
yeah, so Team Indiana and then Ohio and Michigan are there as well.
okay.
Wow. I don't think I realized they had it for cross country too, but that makes total sense, right? They have it for the track athletes. That's super cool. So how do you celebrate, right? You've already mentioned quite a few accomplishments. How do you celebrate those achievements?
Honestly, after races that are like really good, I go get like an ice cream or like cookies or something. And that's kind of how I celebrate like immediately after. But yeah.
That's good. That's a cool celebration. It's worth. I'm laughing because Coach Ware's our nutrition guru.
She's
Hmm.
she's a distance person though, so she can handle the carbs. They burn up plenty of carbs. That's her thing. So Coach and I, we both work with hurdlers and jumpers, and
Hmm.
so we still coach, but we just so you know, like our that's like our world. So
Mhm,
it's interesting. We heard about HSC's 4x8 and their DMR that went to New Balance. So I was like,
mhm,
oh. And then we've interviewed a couple other people from HSC.
mhm.
Anissa was one of them,
Yeah.
and Anna, Irish. So yeah, both of those two. But track and field is a little different than cross country. What do you think is the most challenging aspect of track and field?
I mean, probably keeping track of the laps, honestly. Sometimes it gets really confusing, especially in indoor when like it's double the amount of laps and there's people like you're lapping and stuff and the officials sometimes get it wrong and then you have to like
Mm.
keep count for yourself. There's been one time where I went an extra lap because the officials told me you have one more and I was like, I don't think so, but I kept it was really rough. But I mean, yeah, just running in circles sometimes can be hard in track, but
Mhm. So speaking of the amount of laps you have to do, right? How do you mentally prepare for your competition?
mentally I just try to like have fun with it and remember that it's not that deep and just definitely yeah trying to go out there and have fun and not putting a bunch of pressure on myself to run super fast times. Like I'll run what I run. It's gonna happen. So
And if you do have a day where you just run what you're running and it's not close to your best or even good for that matter, how do you deal with that setback?
yeah, I mean, I normally take like the day to be kind of upset about it, but then I kind of try to like channel that into my training and be like, okay, now I'm gonna go do like these extra things that I wouldn't normally do. Like,
Mhm.
like just like the little things, making sure I'm getting everything in line. And sometimes having that motivation of like not running a very good race, like helps me to make sure I'm doing everything right and like reset for my next race. So.
Okay. No, I was just gonna ask, like I'm listening to you and I'm going, well, how is that like being an athlete shaped your personality? Like, are you
Mhm.
more outgoing? Are you less? Are you more determined? Like, how has that helped shape you?
Yeah, I mean, I used to be somebody who was like really quiet, and I think some people would still say I am, but I think definitely being like a leader on my team and stuff has really helped me to like grow out of that a little bit, and I definitely have a little bit more of like a leadership role, which I wouldn't normally.
What life lessons do you feel you've learned from the sport?
There's definitely a lot of lessons that I've learned from the sport. I mean, just being like taking things like one step at a time because like it's not going to change like, just like taking things one step at a time and not worrying so much about like what's next or what's coming up, just focusing on like in the moment, like what I'm doing to get better and stuff like that.
So being patient for sure,
Yeah.
especially because you're doing distance, right?
Right.
There's a lot of strategy tied to the race. How do you balance, right? You're doing cross country, you're doing track. How do you balance your academic commitments with your athletic?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a little difficult sometimes, but my parents really prioritize academics and have made sure that me and my brother prioritize academics. So it's kind of like if I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this done, they're like, no, you have to do your school first and then do your training stuff. And also like they make sure I prioritize sleep as well. So like it's like academic sleep and then training is, the other thing. So yeah, so normally I just kind of try to time manage as best as possible so that I can get sleep and stuff like that. Which this year has been a lot better because I'm not in nearly as hard of classes as I was last year, but yeah, that's kind of what I do.
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
I love that. Like, well, the sleep thing. So many
Yes.
people miss that. That is, I mean, regular people miss it, and definitely a lot of athletes miss it, especially in your age group, because they're either
Mhm.
up on their phones or they're up playing games or whatever it may be. But sleep is so important. That's probably your best recovery. Better than not. Well, everybody wants the ice bath and this and that and the other, but sleep is one that's often overlooked, and everybody's capable of getting it. They just don't do
Hmm.
it all the time. You spoke of your parents in terms of how they regiment things for you. Like, how have they helped you out? How have they supported you throughout this journey?
Yeah, I mean, they're both very, very supportive. I mean, they come to all my races and they also like make sure that I'm getting like the right nutrition and stuff because I was really low on iron earlier, like last year, and they really help to make sure I'm like taking my iron pills like daily, and I'm also just like getting iron rich foods and like getting carbs the day before the race, like those types of things they really help with, and just like in general like pumping me up before races and like making sure I'm ready to go and stuff like that. So
That's cool. One other thing I'd like to throw in here while you're getting your iron, well, make sure you're getting your vitamin D and do the
yeah.
vitamin D with K. Because
Mhm.
most distance runners, when they end up with some sort of like injury, like a stress fracture, it's usually those people correlated with vitamin D deficiency. It's like really high. So you want to make sure you're taking care of your vitamin D. I'm a chiropractor and I do a bunch of stuff with athletes. If you're wondering, like, how is he all of a sudden jumped in? So I work with a lot of athletes. So this, just so you know, a little insider thing to make sure that's in that mix as well.
Yeah. So Elizabeth, it sounds like you have the nutrition side together. Your parents have been very supportive and help you. First, I want to before I ask this question, shout out your parentals. We always want to give them thanks wherever we can. So what's your parents' name so you can thank them on this live?
Yeah, my dad's Mark Butler and my mom is Cindy Butler.
Shout out to the parentals. So
Yeah.
my my follow-up question to the nutrition side of it is how do you maintain being healthy physically? So how do you ensure to be preventive with injury or if something little aches and pains come along, how do you navigate that?
Yeah, I mean, like nutritionally, I make sure I'm getting enough food to like fuel what I'm doing. That's really a big thing, especially for like distance runners, is making sure you're getting enough food.
Hmm.
And also this year, especially, I've gotten better at like rolling out and stuff after I run. I used to not really do it, but it definitely helps a lot to prevent injuries and stuff. So it's kind of been a big thing.
What's your perspective on winning and losing? It's
Hmm.
because it's a different sport, right? You're running, so you have PRs, you have records, you have all sorts of things. What's your perspective on winning and losing?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely better to win, but as long as I think you're putting in like the same, like as much the best effort you can, like it doesn't really matter what the outcome is, as long as you can like walk away from the race knowing you gave your best. And I think sometimes like not having a good race can be really upsetting, but like as long as you know you gave your best, it's not as bad.
How do you handle or how do you navigate feedback, right? You know, sometimes you didn't have your best competition or didn't the outcome wasn't what you were expecting. And so, you know, coaches, we like to give our perspectives and feedback in order to, you know, encourage you and push you forward, but also giving you things to kind of work on. So how do you handle that type of feedback where it's not necessarily what you want to hear, but what's necessary?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just try to like take it in stride and really listen to what they're trying to say and like not think about like if that makes me upset or not, like just think about what they're trying to get me to learn from it and just kind of work on those things and not like focus on like if it hurt my feelings or not, I guess.
Well, that's good to know. It's well, because some people can take it that way,
Yeah,
and they're
that's
like,
true.
"Oh, you hurt my feelings." I don't know what you said, but I know my feelings are hurt.
Mhm.
Um, but speaking of that, when you're dealing with like training, like distance training is totally different than a lot of the training we coach in. So, what is it like? What keeps you motivated? How do you stay motivated throughout the hard workouts, throughout the season, everything else?
Yeah, in the past it was really easy because I had a teammate, Maggie Powers. I don't know if you know her, but I would always run with her for a lot of my workouts and stuff. And so, like, when I was tired, she'd be not tired, and I would like try to catch up with her and stuff like that. And we'd just kind of push each other in that way because we were really like in a similar spot. But this year, I've kind of been on my own. So it's been a little bit of a learning curve, like trying to make sure I'm pushing myself, like, in hard workouts when I'm alone. And I mean, my coaches have me run with the boys a little bit, but for the most part, I'm kind of just like pushing myself. And it's definitely like more of a mental thing, especially for like longer like thresholds and stuff like that. Just making sure I'm staying connected and just like imagining that there's somebody beside me pushing me, even though there's not. So
That's cool. I mean, running with the boys is a good idea.
Yeah, that's a great motivator because I would be trying to beat them just to.
Yeah.
What would you say is the most unexpected thing you've learned about yourself or learned from being an athlete, like a life lesson or experience that you know?
yeah, I think being an athlete has really like taught me to be grateful for like the gift that I have because which wasn't something that I would like expect to have learned from it, but it's definitely like being able to run it all is like such a gift. And so definitely being grateful is something I've learned.
What would you say the biggest sacrifice is you've had to make? I mean, I know you, and just in terms of overall with competing in track and field. And I have quite a follow up after that, but go ahead.
Well, one thing I've had to sacrifice, which I talked about it earlier, is I used to play softball and that was like my whole life, but I ended up giving that up for running. So that was kind of a big sacrifice, but also just like kind of sacrificing time and stuff like that, just to put in the hours and stuff.
All right. And to follow that, like what's your opinion on like natural talent versus hard work? Like where do you stand with on that one?
I don't really like to like think of things that way, like in that I just pretend that like nobody is good from natural talent, like even if they maybe are, just because like I just pretend that everybody who's better than me is better than me because they're working harder than me, and that helps me to like be like, okay, then I just need to work harder, if that makes sense. So like thinking that people are good like from natural talent doesn't really make you try to get better, if that makes sense.
It
So.
does.
Nonsense. What, a lot of college coaches, it's like everyone is at a level of they're athletic, they're a great athlete, but what separates a good athlete from a great athlete?
I guess like the great athletes are the ones who do like the little things like rolling out or like just like doing core or like just the things that aren't just like running. I think those things are what separates great athletes from good athletes.
And what would you say makes you a great competitor?
I think that I know like when to be competitive, I guess. Like I'm very competitive like once the race starts, but then after the race, like I'm not as much after. I'm just like having fun with my friends. But yeah, I know like when to turn it on, I guess.
Nice. Well, what's your favorite part about being on a team and then still being able to do your own individual thing? Like what's your favorite part?
Yeah, I'm really lucky that I have a really good relay team. We have a few like really, really good 800 runners at my school. So it's really fun getting to race with them. And so, yeah, I mean, the team aspect with like the 4x8 or like the DMR that we ran is really fun. And also, our team has a lot of really fun traditions and stuff. So that part makes the team culture a lot of fun.
Nice.
What advice would you give to a younger athlete who, something you wish someone would have told you at that age that you know now?
Yeah, I think when I was a freshman, I guess a lot of girls on our team that year were very like, guys, let's slow down, let's like take this run easy and stuff. And I was like, wait, I don't think we should be like, I think I should be training hard. But I was like, at the time, I was slower than all of them. So I kind of looked weird like running. I would go run with Maggie, who was really fast and she was putting in the work. But I think just finding somebody to look up to who is doing the things that you want to be doing is really important because I was looking up to Maggie because she was doing the things I wanted to be doing. So, and I would run with her and stuff instead of like holding myself back because that's what like other people on the team were doing.
Being
Oh,
a
that makes
leader,
yeah.
being a leader.
Right. That's what that's called. It's called leadership skills, people. Uh, going into college, I know everybody works hard. Everybody's gonna do that. What makes you different?
I mean, I really want to do like all the little things to get better. I think I'm not going to be somebody who just works hard during practice and then stops and then like does whatever for the rest of the day. I think I'm definitely going to be doing all the little things, or at least trying to do all the little things to get as good as possible.
Great. Love it. Well, Elizabeth, it's been great having you on. Coach, you have a last question for her?
No, I was going to say if our viewers want to follow you this year, what are your social media platforms that you would like to share so they can stay
Um,
plugged in?
yeah, I have an Instagram. I don't really have very much social media, but my Instagram is Elizabeth Butler 368. So you can
Uh,
follow me.
well, we are excited to see. It sounds like cross country has already been an amazing experience as you close that out for your senior year. But we're excited to see how you perform this year, this upcoming season in track and field.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks again for joining us. It was
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you.